photography. Yay, showtime.
It is showtime. Hey everyone, it's Anitra again, back with another episode with Saraellen Bagby.
Hello.
And I'm going to let Saraellen tell you guys what she does.
Well, I am Saraellen. I am the owner of JBella Photography, and I own a photography business that primarily does weddings, events, portraits, and I also do hair and makeup, so you can get it all in one service or a la carte. We're located in
Ashland,
Virginia. Forget, you're all over.
Right.
Yes, but we travel. So
Yes.
in studio or on site.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you are a busy woman. And why are you a busy woman?
Because I have to be. Because there are a lot of moving parts to being an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur. So if I'm not actually out in the field doing a shoot or doing a session, then I am trying to do some type of marketing to promote myself so that I can be busy, and then also giving what I consider deliverables to clients and getting things ready. So it really becomes never ending once you start to get established. So that's a blessed place to be. It's not a complaint. It's a good thing.
It really is. And your mom. So that place.
Yeah, mom to 4, 3 that are under 18, technically under 6. So mom to babies, and they keep me extra busy. So it's the balance, the never-ending balance.
Yeah, we try to balance it. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way we want it to.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Sometimes the scale is tilted, but we do our best, and that's what matters. So
yeah, that's all we can do. That's all anybody can do. You know, we're all just trying to figure it out, right?
Yes, exactly. One day somebody will have the magic answer.
Wouldn't that be something?
I just need them to let me know when they do.
Exactly. Maybe it comes in pill form, you know, and there it is.
I would subscribe.
Well, I want to start with how you got your start. It's interesting, I think. So let the audience know.
So I fell into photography, I always say by accident. I was actually in the beauty field, and I had been with my career for 19 years. Well, at that point, I think it was about 16, 17 years. And then I got married later in life, and I had my daughter at 35. And the first thing you think about when you're becoming a mom is capturing pictures. And so I was like, I need a camera, gotta have a camera. And so I had asked my husband for a camera. I was about 7 months pregnant, got the camera. In all of my adult life, I had never just been home and not done anything. And so I had 4 months of maternity leave, and I was taking pictures of the baby. And then some of the people that I was working with would call me like, oh, can we get our pictures taken? And I was starting to use some of them as models. And within 3 months of being on maternity leave, I was like, oh, people are asking me how much I charge. I should probably get a business license. And because that was naturally what I did in that field, I was in the beauty industry, but I was a district leader. So my role was to help build, develop other salon leaders, and their successes matched whether or not I held my position, to be quite honest. So all of the things that I was doing in photography came natural. And I tell people, like, the joke is, I didn't even know how to use the camera manually. I was shooting in auto. I had to learn how to use the camera because people were booking me just from like the promoting and the marketing, and they were saying like, oh wow, she has an eye for it. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, well, it might be smart for me to take a class or two. And so I probably took some classes about 8 or 9 months later locally with, there were 2 photographers here that I really admired, and they had offered a class on how to use like the camera. So that's when I learned how to do it.
And that's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, you never stop learning. You have to continue to educate yourself. Yeah, even now. I mean, you've been in the business for a while, but you want to constantly stay aware and be abreast of, trends and things that of that nature.
And things shift.
They do.
So it's like knowing what your audience is looking for more so than what you necessarily like to do. So making sure that there is a niche for what you like.
Yeah, and photography is so technical.
It is.
I found that out. It's like it's just too much.
There's the lighting element, there's the positioning element, there's It is. And then again, making sure that you're appealing, we were talking about this yesterday, I think it was, making sure that your client likes what they see.
Yeah.
It's so much more than just snapping a picture. You also have self-confidence that you're building on the other side with the actual client. So you almost turn into a psychologist. I used to say that with hair, but it's the same thing with photography, because you're making sure you boost your client and that they have to love themselves before they get to you. And so you have to encourage and keep that going in order for them to really be happy. And so if you don't ask those questions before you start doing a session, you're going to find out.
Oh, I know. And, being a wardrobe stylist and image consultant, yes. I have run across some women who have confidence issues. Mm-hmm. And that's where you put that different hat on, the psychologist hat or psychiatry hat. Yeah. You put that on and you quickly learn mm-hmm. what their hang-ups are.
Yes.
And you have to work with that. And sometimes people think it's just easy, being a mm-hmm. photographer or what I do or whatever field, in the beauty industry. Yeah. They think it's easy. I'm like, no, we mm-hmm. wear many hats. We have to deal with different aspects of the process.
Yes. And then you have to learn how to prevent those aspects, which is part of what I was just saying. If you don't have a consultation prior to the actual session, you're going to run into hiccups because you don't necessarily know what they're looking for, whether it's for the image or even down to the use of the image. I've had people book a headshot, but then they get to you and they're like, oh yeah, I just rebranded and, we need this hip, cool look. And, you've got this white backdrop sitting there. So it's like, no. So now it's changed over the years to like, what are you looking for? Do you want personal branding? Do you want business branding? Like, do you want it to be outdoorsy? What do you want it to represent? So it's more than just, oh, you want an appointment? Here's your date. I'll see you there. So.
Right, guys. So that discovery call consultation is very important. So yes. that you can learn all of that beforehand. So once you get into the session, it's not, you're scrambling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's vitally important. So I'm glad you said that, because sometimes maybe people, I got distracted for a second. What was I saying? Some people may not incorporate that into their process. Yeah. So it's vitally important that you do that. So it'll be a smoother process for you.
Mm-hmm. And even knowing what people are open to, because there's sometimes where as a creative, we want to suggest. So knowing how much room there is to make those suggestions and give some different ideas. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely. And tell the audience what you specialize in.
Weddings and events. But it's hard because weddings and events are probably my favorite thing to do, mm-hmm. but I also specialize in portraits. So during weddings or any event, all events, I have a period that is blocked out that is portrait hour. I just love the posing. I love the interaction. And then I take that also and bring that back into the studio where I'm able to do portraits as well, whether it's for individuals, whether it's for couples or families. My favorite thing would just be the posing and kind of creating a moment, sometimes where there's already a moment, but like really giving it a story, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It really does. And you always want to tell the story when you're setting up a session with someone, so that's important. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm just here.
Yeah, no. And so that's why, again, I just did a speech yesterday, so I feel like I repeat some of my conversation. But that's why a lot of times, instead of just posing, I look for what's called lifestyle and candid moments where you recreate, because I want to catch the smile, catch the laughter, like catch the excitement. When people have natural chemistry, I'm like, yes, because it comes across, and I don't have to put as much effort into it. Right. But that also helps people to loosen up a little bit. And so I always tell people, if I'm going to give you 10 images, I don't want you looking at me like this for all of them. I want to catch you enjoying it or in the moment, sometimes giving people cues. Like I had a client this morning, his son in. And so his son, he was 2. He was not about to sit there and pose for me. Oh, no. Absolutely so not. I told him, we're going to have a pillow fight. And I caught the best moments. And if I felt like I was catching moments, that he probably actually really has in real life at home. And we were able to bring that in transaction, like, to the studio. So it was really cool. Like, I think I posted those pictures not even an hour after we finished.
Oh, wow.
I was in here, like, editing, like, this looks so good. Because you could feel the moment. And that's what you want to get, whether it's a wedding portrait or, you know, someone coming in here and getting portraits just to make themselves feel good. You want to be able to feel the essence of how they felt through an image.
Yeah. And those candids are the best. Whenever I see a candid of myself or someone else. Like, that's it's not rehearsed. It's not staged.
Yes. And you can see, I always tell people, if you get someone to laugh, they get an automatic facelift.
Absolutely.
So, almost, if you're coming in here, you're going to laugh. You're going to have to laugh.
You have to. With her, you have to laugh.
Yes, I'm like, bring your best comic. Bring somebody with you to make you feel good. Yeah, and that's important. Because I've had people bring people to the session, and it was their worst critic. And I'm sitting there like, oh, you about to go. Like, you cannot be it. So make sure that the person that you bring with you is somebody that really does motivate you, make you feel good, they lift you up. It just makes the sessions go best. So it's just smooth. So much easier.
You have to have a good cheerleader.
You do. Yep. And I can do it. But if you have somebody that's been doing it all along, they are the best person to come. Sometimes I end up being like, all right, let's take a picture. Like, we just have fun and have a good time. Like, I enjoy doing it. So.
Well, that's important too, that you really enjoy what you do. What's the saying? If you do something you love, it's never work. It doesn't feel like work.
Yep.
So that's
a true statement. Like, that's very, very true.
Because what we do, it is work. You know,
especially
don't
when
think
you
it's
start
not.
Getting it piled up.
Don't think it's not. It is work, but we do enjoy what we do because we make people feel better about themselves. You know, and sometimes they can see a different perspective through the photo.
That reminds, especially my ladies, there are a lot of times where I do ladies and I do boudoir as well as professional shots. But the best thing ever is sometimes when I will do a photo and it's not edited, they just look at it from the back of the camera and they'll be like, that's not me.
I know. I've heard that too.
And I'm like, that is you. That's 100%
yes.
you. And some people just don't know how to embrace their bodies or how to move their bodies or what angles look best on them. So when they see it, you know, they're listening to you, they're doing the poses, but then when they see it on camera, it's a wow factor. And then when you finish editing, they see it.
Yeah. And it's that light bulb moment.
You. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you can see it and just the transformation of everything that's happening. You can see it in them.
Yeah, they light up. They light up. And so it's funny that you say, you always make me think. It's funny that you say that because a lot of times, whether it's a shoot that's in the studio or out, I will tell people the first few images don't count. Because when I start shooting and clicking, there's something about like once I get into like the fifth or the sixth shot that all of a sudden people go from like to, oh yeah, like they start to become themselves and then you can start to see it and it comes across in the camera. So I always tell people, they're just warming up and then I'll keep shooting until I get the real them is what I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people that too. I said it's always a level of anxiety. You can't escape it.
And it's normal and natural. Yeah.
But once we get more into it, you'll loosen up.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's important for them to hear beforehand. Just to let them know because a lot of people think, and I've heard this, like, well, I'm so anxious and, you know, I don't know if it's normal, and I have to reassure them that it's normal.
It's a new look. Yeah. And that combination of having the wardrobe style, those are my favorite, by the way. Let me add that in there. Having someone get a professional wardrobe and then come to the shoot. The preparedness that the client does plays a big moment. So I did a photo shoot last week, and I have to share this example. First of all, she was her clothes, outfit, everything looked amazing. And then she had a professional makeup artist come in, and so I told her afterwards, I was like,
but you're a professional.
Yes, I am as well. Thank you.
But we'll get to that. Finish with your
so one of her partners had done her makeup for her. And I literally texted her and I was like, don't tell anybody you got your pictures the same day. And she's like laughing. I was like, I was able to do it because everything in camera was perfect. Like I didn't really have to touch up her skin. The clothes looked good. All I had to do was enhance, like, and brighten it. Because she was so well put together, her hair, everything, it allowed my process of editing to go like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big help. And people don't think that when they initially think, oh, I'm just going to get a portrait done. I'll just go in there and get it done. They don't think about all the little iron.
I've had people come in and be like, oh, I lost the nail. I'm like, no, like, we want all the pieces already together.
Yeah.
It's an investment, and it should be an investment. And it, again, I go back to the confidence thing, because it's where you value yourself. And, like, I'm sorry, but I have learned to love me over the years. I like seeing pictures of me. So being able to have, like, if I'm going to take the time to, you know, pay for a session, to take time out of my day to come to the session, I want all the pieces to go. Because if not, you're going to be like, oh, I wish. No, you have, plan it out, you know, do it however you need to do, and then that way you have the time to get all the pieces together.
Well, some people don't know.
And that's true. Yeah. So again, that goes back to the preparedness and the call to set them up.
Yeah, and, you know, us educating them on what they should.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to make me those little, I've seen them, like the little cards. I have to make my clients a little prep card. And I do that for some, especially in the summer. Because there's things that people don't think about, like you're going on a vacation the week before you have a shoot, your arm tan line, so from your watches, or just a lot of different things. Drinking a lot of water before your photo shoot, so your skin looks good. Yeah, so you're right. Good point.
They don't think about that. And you know, you help with that too, because as I mentioned earlier, that she's a makeup artist as well.
I am.
Makeup artist as well.
You get all services in one. And it's a really good pamper day. I've had several clients that book all three. Get their hair, like, it's full service. So you can get it washed, blow dried, hand styled. You can get full makeup. I would say when it comes to makeup, my specialty is really a natural glam. I love a glam. Like, give me a good lip, some nice lashes, but I steer towards the more natural glam. Right. Not the avant-garde runway quite yet. And then take the pictures, just like the final finished piece.
Well, so talk to the audience about the process of you being, and everything that it entails of you being the photographer, the hairstylist, the makeup artist. Talk about that.
So I love that, because I get so much gratification out of the transition. So somebody comes in, we get to shampoo, blow dry. We have a full salon, so they go in the salon, shampoo, blow dry, with curl or flat iron based on what we think looks best for the pictures. I'm a big curl girl, though. I love the big, especially on longer hair, loose curls. And then we do the makeup. I usually tell people to mark about 2 hours just for that segment. And then once we have finished that, then we are either in studio or we actually leave and we go off site. So it just depends on what a client looks for. In consultation, I tend to ask clients, are you more of a city girl? Like, do you like to see buildings and windows and restaurants and lights? Or do you preference, you know, I love Maymont, like going to parks with flowers and gardens and all of those different things. And sometimes I even use neighborhoods. There are some neighborhoods in the city of Richmond that have better gardens than any park. Yeah, and it's free to walk on those sidewalks, so it's nice.
That's true, because that is public.
Yes. Oh, I use their you know, the little entry.
Well, yeah, it's like they have beautiful homes too.
And most of them are so nice. I haven't run into any situation yet. But most people will be like, oh, hi, how are you? I've even had one lady welcome me, like, oh, I'll open the gate if you guys want to come inside. Nice. That was in Petersburg.
Wow.
And her yard was beautiful. We obliged. We went.
As you should. I mean, what a backdrop.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. So I personally like natural elements, but, you know, I always check with my client to see where we're going. Somebody has a palm, they may want to look for like an interior, like a nice cathedral building or, you know, something like that. So I will help them if they don't already have a location in mind. So we make sure it's a good fit. Yeah.
That's good. And I know some locations, at least in the Richmond area, you have to get permission.
Yes, there are permission and fees. It just depends on where you're going. That's why a lot of times I'm cautious when I go towards DC, because their parks are not free. No. There are photography fees that typically get turned over to the client. So you have to know those things before you go, because they will stop you and ask you for permits, depending on where you go. Our area is a lot more lenient. Some of the museums and those different places, you do have to call and make reservations. I know the Main Street Station is a popular one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, so.
Yeah, and if you didn't, you'd be run over with photographers.
Oh, yeah.
I know when I go to Boar's Head in Charlottesville, on a nice spring day, you've got 20 photographers all outside in the field, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's smart, business-wise, to do that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it would just be so overrun with everyone.
Yes.
I mean, influencers, content creators, photographers, everyone in Main Street Station, I'm speaking of, because it's beautiful.
They're one of a few, so it's good to make the reservations. Or I tend to talk a lot of clients into booking during their off time. So we can book during the week, and we can book like during slower hours, because not only that, but sometimes on the weekends, those places have events. So whether it's a wedding, or I know Maymont has like their butterfly season. There's so many, I think I'm thinking of a different one. It's not Maymont. There's another park that's similar that does the same thing. So you have to know what those schedules are. Yeah. Be prepared.
And do you personally have a preference? A certain season that you love to shoot more than the other?
Yes. Springtime is the best season because the sun goes down later. You can enjoy golden hour in the afternoon, and you're not burning hot and you're not freezing cold. I love springtime because I like warm weather better. Fall is hit or miss.
Hate it.
It's beautiful. But I'm cold. Yeah. I don't like being cold.
Right. I don't either. And we've had this conversation because we're friends too.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation. I'm always cold.
Yeah, that's me too.
And spring is my favorite season because it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right.
Yes.
If I'm too hot, I'm miserable. If I'm too cold, I'm miserable. So that's
July and August. Outdoor weddings in August. Yeah. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. So I know that you do more weddings, and do you have a typical, maybe not typical, but a client that is like your perfect client?
Happy brides. I don't know a better way to say that. Weddings are stressful. I get it. I totally get it. So
remember that show Bridezillas?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like I have been very fortunate that I'm a Southern girl. Let me put that out there, y'all. We're just nice people, and I'm so used to. Those are the people that I like to be around. That their agenda is not so strict that it's like, where is she at? What are you doing? Let me go with the flow. I promise I'm going to capture all the amazing moments. I literally write an agenda for my day of wedding. So I already have a plan, and I have probably had a minimum of 2 consults with my clients before getting there. But just happy, the ones that come to me and go, girl, did you get your plate? Make sure your team eats. So that I don't have to ask, can we eat after we've been working for 6 hours? But yeah, just happy because I want to capture the day. I do not want to have to stage my couple to smile. So de-stress, the ones that have planners, those are my other favorites. That's like a required moment moving forward. Because they alleviate the stress off of the couple. If something goes wrong during the day, the bride and groom should be the last to know.
I agree.
When you have a planner, they will handle that for you and allow you really to enjoy. Get a planner. If you don't have a planner, hire one. Even if it's the day of planner. Every photographer should make that like a requirement to work. Because if not, there are situations where you will end up directing the wedding on top of trying to shoot it in order to get it to stay on time so that you can get all the shots you need and still leave on time. Yeah, so that takes all the pressure off.
Note to brides, get a planner.
Planner. And you can do a day of coordinator. So for people that are budgeting, you can do a day of coordinator, but you really need to have met with them prior to. They should have met with your photographer. There should be a timeline. And so one of the ways I prepare for that is that a month before the actual wedding, I have my couple send me the timeline so that we can have a final consultation, and then I'm able to walk them through that timeline and let them know if we need to make changes so that I can capture the things we need to capture, and then we go from there. And now I have written people's timelines before, but I don't want to have to do that.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that.
I know. But if it comes down to it, because that is so important to me, I have to have a timeline. So if somebody in an event where you don't have one, I will be like, this is the time that we're going to do it.
It's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
You have to.
And I've even had people hire me for like a 3-hour segment. So there has to be, okay, this is the time for the ceremony. I have to have my portrait. You can't book me and not get a portrait hour. So there's got to be a portrait hour, even if it's just for the couple. But literally, that's how I write my day out. I'll tell people I am a candid photographer. The only time I'm really going to stop you and say, okay, pose and move here is typically during portrait hour and possibly during getting ready for my brides. Some of my brides, when they book me for an 8 to 10 hour day, they have time for pre-wedding photos. So they can do, some of them get the really beautiful, like the robes and the different things. And that's a whole photo shoot right there. So,
yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so I love those. Yeah.
Well, tough question.
Okay.
What do you like more? Photography? You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, what's the order? Photography.
It's so funny because it has transitioned. I would say photography, makeup, and then hair.
Okay.
I've done hair for 24 years.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. I've been licensed since 2000, so I enjoy hair, but it's not something I would do every day. There was actually a point where I was like, I'm never going to do hair again. I ended up doing hair again because when I would have portrait clients, they were late. Or they would get their hair done and then show up and they were frizzy, not by any style, fault of the stylist, or just different elements, and I would still find myself ironing it out or curling it, or it just didn't fit what we were trying to do, so I was having to adjust it. And so I was like, let's just add this to the tab because I knew how to do it. It made it easier. So now my preference is that people come here and allow me to do the entire service. But also I work with a huge network of, and I'll have to throw out Makeup by Holly beauty partners as well. So I also do not mind when I know the photographers and I know the work of the people that I'm using, for them to even come into the studio, which is what happened last week. I'm gonna throw it. Jackie came in with me for a photo shoot and she did the makeup. I got to come in here and prep for the photo shoot. So it works out both ways for me, but I do love doing all the pieces and then being like, oh yeah, I did that. Like, she looks good.
Right. That's my work right there.
Yeah, so that whole transformation. And I do a lot of women who have never been makeup wearers. And that is a huge wow factor because they may wear like mascara or something here, but when they get that total transition and I turn them, they're like, wow, that's me again. Is that me? Like, that's you. Yeah. So giving people the ability to know like what they are fully capable of, especially as women. I'm huge on moving our women to understand their value, their worth, and like, yes, that's you. You are amazing and you can look like that. It's just putting the time to pour into yourself. So,
and a lot of women, they don't do that.
You don't, because we're busy, because we're moms, we're working, I get it. And there are even moments where even though I'm in this field, I'll go like 5 days, like, I'm not doing my hair, I ain't doing nothing. I'm just going in here and doing the paperwork and the logistics of it. And I'm like, I don't feel good when I do that. So I have to say to myself, okay, no. In your goal setting of getting yourself together, you have to add a little bit on. You have to do a little makeup. You have to do a little something, because when you're having that day where you're running around and you walk past that mirror, you be like, oh, hold on, that's me. Let me get myself back together. I mean, have you ever had that moment?
Well, yes. But going back to what you say is, you look good. You feel good. You do good.
They go hand in hand.
It does, because if you look and you are toe up.
Yeah, I know.
Then the energy's different. You're like, I don't want to do anything. Yeah. And then you look in the mirror and it's like, oh, that's why.
And it creates a cycle. Like I said, I've been on both sides of it. So I get not feeling good, feeling overwhelmed, feeling depressed, wearing your sweats around. and you just don't want to get up. You know, same as we've talked about it too recently with the gym. Once you haven't been, you don't want to get up and do it. But there's something on the other side of once you get there that you're like, why do I have such a hard time? Because it feels so good once you do.
Those endorphins kick in, and you're like, oh, yeah.
This is why.
I feel good. I feel good.
Yeah.
Doing that.
So as they put yourself back in the game.
You have to.
Yeah.
Now you have this beautiful studio space, and I'm going to get some imagery of that, and you guys will be able to see that later on.
Yeah.
But you have this space. People can come and, you know, get their portraits taken. What else can they have done here? Now they're going to see it later.
Okay.
But we have this beautiful wall back here that you see. Everybody loves this. Everyone loves this.
This is the favorite infamous wall.
Favorite.
So yeah, they can get headshots, they can get branding shots, they can get family shots. There's nothing I don't photograph. I've done babies, I've done newborns, maternity. I love all of the elements of it. So there's nothing I don't think that I haven't shot yet. And the studios really allow you to be able to do all of that. So we have this room, which really suits more so for that business, professional, very colorful. And then we have another room over there, which suits for, that one does like a double whammy because we have a makeup station in there as well. That one is very boho chic, so it's good for our families. A lot of first-time moms especially want that in-home feel, but they don't necessarily want to clean up before the shoot to do it at home. So they can come here and they can still get that same feel. That room also serves wonderfully. My style of boudoir is very elegant, lovely, soft, and so that's the soft girl boudoir studio over there. And then the third studio, which is double as the salon, I use it for backdrops when I need backdrops for professional clients. We also have a sitting area in there so we can get some candids and some more professional shots as well in there. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah. A lot of everything.
Yeah, a lot of everything. And we rent it out to other photographers. So when I'm not in here, other photographers will rent individual rooms and they use them for their clients as well. So if you ever see another photographer with this, they can't get into it. And we've got lots of really awesome photographers in the area that come here on a regular. So,
I mean, beautiful space. It's a beautiful place to be. Now, do you prefer to have the clients come in studio or to be out? Or combination?
I'm going to say combination because I originally got the studios so that I was able to offer, and I'll grab one of these so you can see.
We can grab this one.
Post-production for my clients. Because the other thing that means a lot to me is that people, you know, I always think back to my childhood when they think of why I do what I do. And especially going to other people's houses and being like, oh, you got that big picture of you on the wall. And, you know, when I was little, my grandma had pictures everywhere. And so I just feel like everybody should have those keepsakes. And you don't realize that you want or need those keepsakes until it's too late. But I won't plug us down with that. So I originally got the studios because I wanted to be able to offer these and I wanted an office. And I was meeting with clients to show them what we offered in Panera. And there is nothing wrong with that for my starting out photographers. But I was meeting in public places and I wanted this for that. Then I got in here and people were like, oh, we love shooting in the studio. So that was the first time I'd ever started shooting in studio. I always did outdoor. I love outdoor. I love golden hour. So it will forever be a favorite. But because I've grown and now I'm doing the hair, the makeup, and the portraits, a lot of times it is out of convenience that we end up shooting in the studios. Or people will book me for, you know, a park or somewhere else and they get in here and they're like, oh, I like that wall. And so we do both. I tend to overshoot and I warn people about that because if you like to take pictures with me, you're going to be mad at me later because I'll keep shooting. I enjoy shooting. That's the only way I can describe it. So if somebody might buy a package for 5 and I may end up with 15 and then give them the option to buy more if they want to. But also I want them to be able to pick their favorites, not necessarily my favorites. So I deliver fully edited galleries. I always think of it like if you go to a restaurant, I'm not going to give you a medium rare steak. I'm not going to let you see it before it's finished cooking. I'm going to finish it completely and then you get to select the best of those. And then we go from there. Yeah. So.
Well, beautiful space. I've been here multiple times. But tell the audience.
Without breaking the place up.
Yeah, without destroying it. So you have this lovely studio, but you're also mobile. Now, what are the areas that you travel to, or do you have restrictions?
I don't have restrictions.
You don't have restrictions.
No.
Okay.
If anybody wants to do a destination wedding, call me. I haven't got to do one of those yet.
Yeah,
no, I do travel. Typically, I think the furthest I've done for photography so far, North Carolina, Maryland, DC, are about as far as I've gone so far.
Okay. Yeah. But she really wants that destination wedding.
Yeah,
so you know,
call me up.
If you need to do your due diligence and do more research on her, she's definitely online. And how can they find you?
They are everywhere, everywhere. Got 4 or 5 pages on everything. We have our website, which is JBella's Infolio. We have Facebook, JBella RVA. We have Instagram. I don't have a Twitter.
TikTok.
I love TikTok.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
where I make all of my
We're going to talk about that off camera.
Yes, and I have TikTok. So yes, so I have all of those pages. And I have different pages for the different businesses because I have the photography, then I have the studio rentals, and then I have the boudoir, which I separate because sometimes the families don't mix.
Right, boudoir.
Yeah. But it's great for brides.
It is
a wonderful surprise.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, hubby, here's your gift.
No, that has been fun.
Yes,
to do. We do reveals at weddings. We'll get the groom by himself and we go, she got something for
that's
you.
fun.
And let them open it before.
That is fun.
Yeah, always great reactions.
I can imagine. Well, that's how you can contact Saraellen.
Yes.
What else do we need to chat about? Oh, what's next for you?
What is next for me? Continued growth. This photography thing I love. I could see me doing this for a really, really, really long time. You said what next? How did I forget the biggest thing that's next?
The biggest thing.
The biggest thing we haven't revealed yet, but you get to be exclusive. So we are now working to open a wedding venue that is right beside the studio. And once it is open, it would be the only wedding venue in our state that is going to be on the airport landing strip. So we are right here in Hanover County. We are working with the county right now. So we're in very, very early stages.
Yes.
We just had a meeting with the county. I just met the amazing owner across the street, Chuck, of the airport over there. And that's really cool too because there's so much I didn't know about the airport that I'm learning as well. And they already offer tours. So part of what I'm wanting to do is to really be exclusive to be able to say, okay, you're going to book your wedding here, and then being able to allow them to book so that they can fly off. That's the whole purpose of being able to do a wedding venue at the airport. It's going to be amazing. And so far, everybody that we have talked to about it in the airport community seems to be excited and thrilled for it. And so I'm excited. So behind the scenes, since I hadn't shared it yet, I had already started working with some of my wedding network to start making sure that we can create that list of top tier vendors to be able to work with us and supply. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah,
it is going to be beautiful. I can attest to that. Now I'm humbled and grateful that you did share that information with me before. Of course, I wasn't going to put that out there.
But of course, I was going to share it.
It's not my information to share. It's not mine to share.
Yeah, well, we're moving now, so I'm like, well, I better start sharing it before they get it out because we are fully in motion and swing of getting it done. Yeah. So 2025.
Wonderful news. I'm so proud of you and happy for you.
Thank you so much.
Because it's major. It's going to be huge. It's going to be successful. It's going to be beautiful. And when she has the grand opening, of course, I'm going to be there.
Yay!
To celebrate her even more.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Yeah.
What else is next?
Oh, what is next? just continuing to do what I'm doing. I want to continue growing. I want to continue expanding my team. This last year was the first time I was like, oh, I need somebody to come with me when I go to weddings. And so being able to continue to grow and develop and do that. Of course, I do education as well. So really trying to balance all those things out, but continue to do it because I'm constantly getting calls for all of.
But you didn't talk about one thing though. You just touched on education briefly just now. In the coaching, you didn't touch on that.
Oh yeah, because it's like, where are we fitting it in?
Here we are.
But yeah, so Sarah Be the Coach is another page that you can find that has been. I think I have to touch it. It's been slightly dormant, but I still have been doing coaching sessions as people call me for coaching sessions. Yeah. Primarily, I have been coaching up and coming photographers and new photographers. But I also coach some new entrepreneurs because I tell people at the end of the day, your business principles are the same. That's how I was able to go from beauty to photography because the principles really were the same. Customer service, it's the same. Contracting, knowing what details and all those things to put in it, they may be different as far as which, category you're working on, but the details are pretty much the same. Preparing, setting up your client for the experience, all of those things. And what I have found is that 99% of the time, it's not that people don't already know what business they're operating in, is that they don't have the confidence to do it. And so that's where I feel like I can really support, is by helping people with that, again, that confidence piece to be like, no, you got this. And let's kind of create a strategic plan on how to get it going, but it's already in you. It's already in you. Like, that's the thing that people miss. And sometimes they just need to hear that from somebody else to be like, oh yeah, I do got this. Yeah. And then once you start putting the train in motion, it's going to happen. I mean, there's no such thing as having an action and not having a result. So the more action you put, the better the results are going to be. Yeah.
I know fear just really paralyzes people to the point of they can lose out on great opportunities. And if they have a dream or a goal, that they won't really go for it.
And sometimes you have to take risks to get there.
A lot of times, especially being an entrepreneur.
You can't be an entrepreneur and not take risks.
You're going to take some risks all the time.
Yeah.
But you just have to jump into it being fearful.
Yep.
You'll be okay.
Yeah.
You won't die from it, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people,
and there are ways to be better prepared, but there are other times, and that's where you use your wisdom. Like, what's going to be the return on investment if I do this? How long is it going to take me to get to that place? So you do have a lot of things that you have to think about, factor in.
That's where that business plan comes into play.
It is.
It does. But sometimes you have to pivot as well.
Yep. When I got into this, there was no plan. There was no plan. I had been working my job, 19 years at that time, and things got real uncomfortable at a place that I had loved up until that point, and I just was like, I want to bet on me, and I just did it. And
sometimes things are more successful that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you do it that way, you don't have that plan, but it just falls into place.
It does, and I'm a huge stickler for faith and believing in God because I would not be able to be here right now without a whole lot of prayer. Yes, and opportunities opening up that didn't make sense to me otherwise. So I will forever say, pray about it.
Oh yeah, you have to stay prayed up.
Yes, you do.
We are we have that faith.
Yes.
We have that religion. For those of you who don't, if you believe in a higher power, I'm sure that you do, then you have to take what you take from that.
Yes,
but,
exactly.
We definitely stay.
This works for me.
Yeah, it has definitely worked for me. Glory to God all the time.
Because there were anybody who's been an entrepreneurship knows that there have been moments where you were like, oh, is this going to be my last year? Like, is this going to be, and you just keep going. You keep praying about it. And you keep doing the things that got you started. Like, keep doing the things that get you momentum. When you see feedback and different things, take it for what it is. I take both positive and, critiques, and I go back, and you might be in your feelings at the moment because it's personal, but I take it, I apply it, and I do better. And that's the goal.
Yeah. You have to. You can't take it so personally.
Because that too will make you give up.
Yeah, the
and
good
you
and the bad.
can't put yourself in a position to give up.
No.
Because then you never know what you could have made it.
You cannot. You have to align yourself so that you can be successful.
Yeah.
And surround yourself with people who can help with that as well.
You just said what was up here. I was going to say the other piece to that is finding people that are already really super successful in your craft. I'm going to ask. I'm going to find out what you're doing, how you did it. Do you mind if I take a little piece of it and, you know, make it my own and all of those different things. Yeah. And once you find a tribe of people that are willing to give you that back, hold on to them.
Oh, yeah, you have to. I mean, because, you know, you can't do it alone. No one can do what we do, any profession or just in life in general. You can't do it alone. So you have to have people.
You have to have your tribe, have your group, have your support team, and keep them close. And then do that for somebody else. That's
pay
the
it
other
forward.
piece. Yeah, pay it forward.
You always have to pay it forward.
Absolutely.
Yay. Well, great conversation.
Thank you.
Great insight. Great information. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. I know you have because, you know, she gave you great information. She gave you great nuggets. How could you not?
Thank you. I enjoy sharing.
She does.
Help somebody else.
She's such a sweetheart. So please continue to follow her because you have all of her information and to book her too, especially that destination wedding.
Yes, I know it's out there.
More than one.
On me.
She wants more than one destinations.
Yes.
So definitely do that. And I will be in touch. Until next time, I'm Anitra Bird, personal wardrobe stylist and image consultant, and I'll see you later. So this is a better visual of this famous background.
Yes, the background.
Beautiful. Vanna White? You want to have your Vanna White moment?
Yes, there we go.
It's beautiful. Anything you want to say about the background? And just...
This background was done by Andre Young. He actually designed this studio and the boho room. He's amazing.
He is.
Interior decorator, definitely my fave. And he actually handmade this desk for me.
Did he?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
He's awesome. I love his energy too. Yeah. Beautiful.